My name is George Kaufman, and what I'd like to talk about is retirement. I retired about 10 years ago at the age of 70, and I had been thinking about how I would handle retirement for maybe 10 years before that. I'm a diarist, a journalist, and I also make heavy use of the computer, and I developed a computer file called Retirement, which I did in outline form in Microsoft Word, trying to take on all the various aspects of retirement. Financial, would I be ready for retirement without a steady income coming in? That did not seem to be a problem. What did I really want to do during my retirement? And here too I was helped by the fact that I had had many hobbies which I've been interested in throughout the years, including fishing, photography, computing, hiking, chess, bridge, and God knows what else. I also knew that I wanted to go back to college and take courses, mostly in areas that I had not had the time to delve into, areas which I really had not been used to probing. For example, when I went to college, much of my efforts were geared towards getting into medical school, so that I was heavily loaded with science courses, chemistry, biology, what have you. I would also avoid any course where I could not get a very good mark. There were certain teachers and courses where it would be almost impossible to get higher than a C, and a C for me at that time, being Jewish in an era when getting into medical school as a Jew was very difficult, that would have been a disaster. But now that I was retired, I could take anything I wanted to. So my dear wife, Myra, and I went to Lehman and started signing up for courses. And we signed up for a lot of art history courses. I did like to draw, but I never had been very much involved with art history. And I found art history fascinating, going through all aspects of it. The Impressionists, modern art, Baroque, all aspects of it. This involved not only going to classes, but also reading books on it and going to many museums. We also took a course in the history of Latin America, which we found fascinating, given by an excellent professor, Dr. Renike, at Lehman. My prior thoughts about Columbus were very favorable, but after learning about what the Spaniards did when they came to the New World, if I had my way, I would pull down every statue of Columbus I could find. Their murderous and rapacious ways, where they greeted the Indians who came to welcome them by stringing them up and slicing open their bellies with their sabers, enslaving them to work in mines until they died, and so on. Courses in things like globalization, any variety of courses. We also took a interesting course at Columbia on the transfer of money between generations, which was fascinating in itself, except that on that one day, going to class, sitting on the one train, opposite me was a middle-aged guy drinking Coca-Cola at a little before 9 o'clock in the morning, eating potato chips, talking on a cell phone as we got to a station at 125th Street, which was out of doors, and talking to a friend of his, and said, "What? A plane crashed into the World Trade Center?" And I thought, like with the Empire State Building, a small plane that crashed into it. And a short time later, he said, "Another plane caution to the other towers. And at that time, the hairs just stood up all over, and you knew. And we went to class, and the professor said, obviously we're not going to talk about transfer of money. It just so happened that I was an agent with Mossad. We're going to talk about terrorism. And there were several students of Arabic descent in that class. And I was just picturing them being interred the way we did with the Japanese. But it was fascinating. And on the way home, and by the way, Columbia's on 116th Street, we walked all the way home to Riverdale and up that damn steep hill. I was 10 years younger then. And you had no concept of how the world was going to change at that time. Anyway, getting back to my original concept of retirement, what I would advise somebody, and we've had a wonderful 10 years of retirement. So if you like to go to school, or even if you've thought about it, do it. Lehman is close by. You can get there by number 10 bus very easily. Take your hobbies and develop them further. And if you don't have any hobbies, while you're still working, start developing something you're going to be very interested in. And we found the Riverdale Senior Center, which is a little over a block away, which provided us with a lot. I came there originally to teach computing, but then as I aged into the average age of the membership. And there's so many things you can do there. So I still enjoy computing. We have a wonderful men's group, which I can't tell you too much about because what is said there stays there. I probably have talked too much already, and I will wind it up there.
Thank you very much, George.